There we go.
Hello, everybody. Y'all don't know this, but it's our second try. Welcome. This is your weekly dose
I'm-
with Deborah
And Lori, and I'm
from
blonde.
Sewing.
I am blonde for a reason.
Yes, we're
It-
gonna try this, and if it doesn't work this time, I'm just going back to the office. Just letting you know,
We had it all done and it was an
Yep.
excellent job, if we do say so ourselves,
it was good.
and realized that we were muted the whole time. Some
So
people are,
apparently, some of you would have liked that.
to say some people would have appreciated that.
So
It is what
we are
it
going
is.
to try this again.
All right. So we are coming to you from the Surrey location. We're here on Scott Road and
9368 Scott Road.
yeah, so that's and then we have two other locations. We have a wonderful staff at our Chilliwack store,
Yep.
Country Folk.
Mhm.
So they're on
Luckakuk. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but once you get past four numbers, I'm not gonna remember.
That's
which
okay.
Number.
If you're familiar with Chilliwack, they're basically right across the street from the superstore,
Superstore.
right off the highway.
That's right, yes.
So, and then we have our Burnaby store,
Yes,
which is
on Kingsway,
Kingsway.
Yeah.
By a gas station.
is it?
Yes,
Oh,
I think
okay.
so, if memory
don't-
serves me correctly, but then we all know how my memory is working today.
Yeah.
So just for those who are unfamiliar with our three stores, our Surrey store and our Chilliwack store is the ones that have the fabric, the notions, and machines.
Yep.
And the Surrey store is where we do all of our service. There we go. My brain's just not kicking in now at the moment. So we got all of our service here. And then our Burnaby store is machines and notions. It's just a small little tiny little place. But if you're looking for machine service, you can just drop it off at our Burnaby store and we pick it up and bring it here and then take it back. Same with Chilliwack. Drop it off, we bring it in and then take it back. And if you still like to shop in Burnaby but want our stuff, what you can take and do is if you order online,
Yep.
you can actually have it arranged to be picked up in
Yep.
Burnaby. So if you're in Vancouver, North Shore,
yeah.
all the way over there and don't want to come all the way to Surrey, just order online and just list the pickup place.
Yes, where you want to pick it up, by the store.
Yeah, at the Burnaby store, and there you go. So there you go. That's just a little sneak peek and
Yes,
how our
exactly.
stores are integrated, interchanged,
Yeah.
all that fun stuff. So yeah, now we're like trying to remember
Yes,
what we
what we
said, what we
did and
didn't
how
say,
we
and
did
so we don't
it,
forget something this
Yes.
time because our brain is already saying we said it.
So a big announcement.
Yes, let's start with our
is-
big
yes,
announcements.
That is our Husqvarna day.
So that is towards the end of September. I think it's the 27th, is it not?
I think so here
In
in
Surrey.
Surrey, it is September the 28th. It's a Saturday.
Okay, so September
Here.
28th in Surrey and September 27th, which is the Friday in Country Folk.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Starts at 9:30.
in Surrey. Oh, and Country
Yeah.
Folk. Oh, okay.
And one set goes to 12:30 and then there's a little break. And then from 1:30 to 4:30 in the afternoon as well.
So there's
Different segments, different things that she's going to talk about. She's an educator from Husqvarna, SVP from Ontario, and she's going to use her expertise as a quilter and pattern designer, which is always exciting, to inspire us with ideas, expand our creativity, show us different things to use use your feet type of things.
she's been a quilter for over 20 years. She has a blog called Quilt Social, and she's been a quilt designer in pattern. So she's worked for numerous companies in Canada and America. So she knows her stuff. And the first class for the day is, like you were saying, she's gonna be showing off accessories.
Yeah.
And we just kind of want to let you guys know that it's not just Husqvarna
Right.
related. So if you are Janome, Bernina,
Baby
Baby
Law,
Law,
any
any of them, you still want to come. Simply because the stuff that she's going to talk about are across all the machines.
Yes, you're
So-
going to find those accessories and or feet in all of those lines.
Yeah, so you can learn some wonderful information. I mean, she will talk Husqvarna.
Yeah. Mhm.
They've got some new products that are coming out. Carrie said we could tell them what they are.
Okay,
So,
alrighty, yeah.
She's,
I'm
there's
very
a new
excited.
cutter that they've got.
Yep,
And this one is got Deborah really excited. It's got me intrigued.
it's kind of sad, but
Uh,
I really am.
It's a new iron
Yes,
and
it's cute.
It is very cute and it takes on a different shape. It's
Yes.
not your regular iron
Yeah.
shape. And so when you're quilting and if you're an embroiderer and you know how a lot of times we have to sometimes press things in a
Yeah.
hoop, this iron is actually going to work better
Yes.
than some of this other stuff. So I'm intrigued. I'm not an iron or a presser or whatever you want to say it. I just,
I know.
yeah, I know. Drives her crazy. Drives Carrie crazy, but you know, it is what it is. So I'm intrigued on this one. So you guys, so come
Yes. If only to
Sign up.
see this iron.
sign up. That it's filling up fast, but
Mhm.
if you want to see, register, and if it's full, still register. It gets you on a wait list.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it helps us to assess if we can open up more seats.
Mhm.
You know,
Yes.
we are limited, but you know, maybe we'll just take the seats right out into the parking lot too, you know.
If it's a nice day.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it just, let us know. Don't, if it's full, still register, gets it on a wait list, and then we know, and then if somebody has to cancel, it gets you in. So don't be afraid. We're gonna sneak in
Yeah. Yes, we are.
because we're excited to see some of this information
Yes.
and learn some new things.
And I
So
want the iron.
you want the iron.
I do.
I'm starting a GoFundMe page to, yeah.
Get Deborah a new
They
iron.
get Deborah a new iron. Actually, I don't think we need GoFundMe. It's not gonna be
No,
that
no, it's
expensive.
not gonna be. And like, I don't know about everybody else, but my space to press with my embroidery machine is like yay big. So using a full-size iron or having to send back the ones that had the fire hazard issue. This I'm looking at as being something
Yeah,
unique to
it
me.
was, which one was it? Was it Clover? No,
No,
Was that
no, it
Clover?
was I forget the brand, but it was annoying.
yeah, see,
Cause they're little, you
I
want
have-
a little one for your
I have-
embroidery.
have two, well, had two, little ones. And the one that had the recall is the one that I liked using better. Just the heat was more consistent, you could control it a little bit better. And so I've got my Clover one, but it's not my favorite.
Yeah, yeah, so
And
I'm
so-
looking forward to seeing this one. But the Husqvarna Day event it's geared to all types of sewers, quilters, crafters, embroiderers, and more. It's going to be more knowledge based
Than
than just
brand,
product.
yes. But
brand
I
based,
mean,
yeah.
we've got Husqvarna now, and so we're using it as an opportunity
Yeah.
to celebrate. Come on
Mhm.
in, check out the store.
Spend a day.
Spend the day, bring lunch. But it's gonna be a lot
Yeah.
of fun. It's so much information on product that is cross brand.
Yeah.
There's gonna be stuff that, I mean, like the iron, it doesn't matter if you're a
Yeah.
Husqvarna machine or
No,
whatever, it's
exactly.
going
It
to be,
doesn't, yeah.
got the cutter. She's gonna actually talk about Mysonet.
Yes,
that-
my
so
Sonet,
that-
that's another product that's out there that they keep expanding upon.
And we're hearing that it's got a lot of breakthrough technology coming
mhm.
through. So we're kind of looking at getting our feet a little bit wet with that to see how well that one
Yeah.
does and play around with that. So enjoy.
Have fun.
have
It's a day
fun.
out.
It's a
Yeah.
day out. you're with us, you know, that in and of
Mhm.
itself.
My fun place.
Yeah. I
So, yeah.
mean, so we have that. So again, check it out on the website. We talked
Then-
about stockings
Yes.
a few weeks ago. What is it? For
The
Christmas Bureau.
Christmas Bureau.
So we said to drop them off in September, but we have a go-getter, but which is fine, because you want to get started on them.
Yeah.
So if they've
Yeah.
started on them already, that means we got lots coming in, but look how adorable these things
Yes.
are. So we've got 3. So if you haven't got started, this is your invitation to maybe get started now. If you have, thank you. And we're so excited to see what you're bringing in. And yeah, you can start bringing them and we'll find some place for them. Because we really would like to, as soon as the Christmas Bureau
Yeah.
opens this year, have a batch ready to take in, and then we'll take a second batch in.
Because they go
few weeks.
quickly.
They
People love
do.
them.
They
It's one
do.
of those things that they get to pick their own.
Yeah.
So.
They hang them up,
Yeah,
and so
you go along and pick your own.
if you don't have Christmas fabric, I know a guy.
Yeah.
We have a ton of Christmas fabric, and I
Yeah.
think we've got more coming in. If
Probably.
you need an excuse to buy more Christmas fabric, then use up your stash to do the stockings. So
Mhm.
then you've got room for more Christmas fabric.
And you're not buying it when you don't need it because you've used it.
Yeah,
You know,
so there you go.
we know all the
We
excuses.
do, and there's, you know, Halloween fabric if you're not
Mhm.
really into Christmas, which is odd, but
I don't think I've ever met one of those.
I don't know, I haven't either. But remember how I get distracted last week about the eyeballs that were staring at us, and we
Yes,
were
yes.
wondering if it was glow in the dark?
They are.
The black is, the orange is not.
Oh, both of them were.
Carrie's not sure.
What's said on the
On both?
bolt? Yeah, it said on the bolt they were, so.
Okay. We're going to take and go in the bathroom, turn off the lights.
No, you're gonna. What an odd place to socialize.
Well, it's not socializing. It's just it's the only place that has no windows. And so it can be completely dark, so we
Okay.
can see which one actually glows in the dark.
I hear you.
Okay, then we'll do the kitchen. Will you be more comfortable with me in the kitchen?
We're not gonna do it now.
Fine, I'll get Kara to do it.
Okay.
So,
curated.
but we'll see which one, because now I'm curious, because Carrie said it was one, but the bolts say both.
Yeah,
So now
okay.
we need to do that. Upcoming classes.
Yes, this Saturday here in Surrey, we have the Chunky Pumpkin Table Runner.
Which is, it is an embroidery, but look, isn't it beautiful?
So lovely.
I am so proud of it, though. I really am.
yes, you
It
should be.
turned out
The
so
everything, like your
amazing.
choice of colors and patterns is just work, and I love the border, like
Yes.
it's just nicely embroidered leaves.
We have that. We have, where did I put it? We have
Sit
I
and
Spy.
Sew is back on Monday.
Yes.
Here in Surrey.
I Spy.
The I Spy match quilt
Is
is
coming up.
a week Saturday.
And then our beginner class.
Yes,
is
this starts in September.
Falling leaves.
Falling leaves, I
Falling
think
leaves.
is
This is
autumn leaves. sorry.
autumn leaves. Okay.
It
Gorgeous.
is beautiful.
gorgeous, gorgeous.
Just, the camera can't do it justice.
No, you need
If
to come in and
nothing,
check it.
Even if you don't want to take the beginner class, you gotta come in and have a look at it.
It is
It is beautiful.
the fabric choices, and I think some of these we have in. Yeah, it's amazing. So if you want to take it, even if you're not a beginner, like it's
Yeah.
a technique,
It's a technique, because
Come
there's
learn
applique
it.
on it, yeah.
and it'll be a lot of fun. Sign up early. If the class fills up, then that still sign up, gives us a wait list.
Yeah.
So then we can open up new classes and all that fun
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
So-
it really is lovely, so,
Yes.
that's that one, and what else? Oh,
got-
the tree skirt.
Yes, so I'm diligently working on that one. There's lots, I've got some more snowman.
This
Kinda
is
neat.
both in person and Zoom.
Yes,
This would be really, really fun in person, only so that everybody gets to see what you're working on, because you can pick whichever
Yes,
pattern you want,
so
there's various.
there's for Designs by Juju is the pattern that we're working on. And she has several different ones. So like there's the snowman, there's nativity, there's gingerbread.
Yeah, oh yeah. So
The
cute.
if you like the quilt behind us, which is like the Christmas village, she has one with that's a Christmas village. So if you want to do like a quilt and then a tree skirt and just like really go to town matching.
I
The
think
technique
each
to
of
do 'em-
these should have a name.
Yeah.
Sorry,
you can name the snowman. But
don't say that.
the technique to do it for the most part is the same. So
Yes.
it doesn't matter which one. So you can pick whichever one you want and we'll still work on it and go for it and have to town. There is a new one that she's got out and it's actually bunch of random blocks sewn together. So it's not quite the same. That one is done different. So we can't do that one in the class.
But there's
But-
like 4 choices
No, there's
here, like
6, I think.
choices on that. So
Yes.
whichever one,
If any questions, just reach out to
Yeah.
me and then that. So that's gonna be fun. What else do we have?
then the Husqvarna Day,
Yeah.
and then we're moving into October.
Yeah, we have
so,
Timber Bell
yeah.
Club coming up. This
Yep.
one, the design is a trapunto.
Oh,
Yes, and again, the picture does not do it justice. It's really, really cute. So come join us for that one. And yeah, but check out the website. We're add classes all the time.
yeah, 'cause
and
this time of
that-
year, they'll start getting added for the
Yeah, we've got,
fall. Yeah.
Carrie's talking to a couple of different teachers
Mhm.
and they're working on getting their stuff in. So yeah, it's
Yep,
just me
so
really
we'll be
excited.
have classes coming up.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to
Our technique.
our
this week.
technique. Yes. So, I have been primarily a embroiderer. Most people know that I do machine embroidery, but I do quilts. And even with the machine embroidery, I still sandwich my quilt because it's a wall hanging or whatever. So I have done quilting. The problem I have found is I've kind of learned a little bit on my own or this and that and done a couple of different things and I can't get down on the floor. So I've been trying to do it on a table, on a small table. And so I have looked and talked to a whole bunch of different people to get different ideas and different ways to sandwich a quilt. And so I'm going to share some of those with you today for those who are new to quilting, just getting into quilting, those who are struggling because the way they do it one way just isn't working, for a quilt that they might be working on, or they've had to change things up, for whatever reason. And, and for those who've been around for a while, maybe, some things that they would like to tweak. So we're going to share that. So we're going to start very, very basic and kind of move up from there. Not super expertise. We've only got,
Right.
it's hard to do stuff like that on camera.
Yes.
So we're going to give you just a very quick kind of overview on how to do this. And you can learn a lot more. And maybe we'll do a class on sandwiching a quilt.
That's
and different
always,
techniques.
yeah.
So that
can
might
always
be
be an option.
that might be an
yeah.
idea. So right now we're going to just start very, very basic. So new to quilting or whatever, what is a sandwich? Okay, it's not ham and cheese.
No, it's not.
It is when you take your backing, your batting, and your quilt top and put it together and prep it for when you're going to quilt it. Okay. There are 2 products or 2 things that you need to have when you're doing that. These are either one or the other. Some use both, but for the most part, it's one or the other. So when you're sticking your sandwich together, okay, you need to hold it because you're going to be shifting it around.
Yes.
Once you move it to your machine, you're going to be, this and that, and you don't want things shifting because then you'll get folds in it and buckles and yeah. She's going, I desire to have
Yeah.
fabric. I don't need a fold. Okay, so we want to be able to hold it in place so that it doesn't shift. And there's 2 ways to do it. The first one is the spray called 505.
Yes.
Think of it as hairspray for your quilt.
And treat it the same.
And treat it the same. Okay, so you don't want to be spraying this a lot indoors without good ventilation. So make sure your windows are open. So if you are in a closed room, probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
You don't want an open flame. So this is not an activity on a cold winter night when you've got the gas fireplace going and you're on the floor in front of it going, shh, that will not end well.
If you're still a smoker, don't light.
Yeah,
your
don't.
cigarette, right.
So treat it like hairspray, but you're going to spray it lightly. This is not a,
Yeah.
you don't want to drench your quilt. It's a light spray, so you get a light tack to it. So when you put it down and put the layers down, they kind of hold together, but it's not, if it doesn't lay quite right, you can shift it.
Yeah.
And as you're smoothing things out, it'll shift a little bit that way because you're going to have a little bit of movement. If you use too much, it's going to be too sticky. And then it kind of leaves it could leave a residue
Yeah.
on your quilts, and you don't want that. So this is technique number one. The other one is using pins, where you're going to pin it as you're going. Now, when it comes to pins, there are two different types of pins. There's your regular pins that you can get anywhere, dollar store, whatever. And then there are your curved pins. For pinning, you're going to want to use curved pins.
Yes.
Reason for that, regular pins are flat. And so as you're stretching and you're trying to do that, you're going to have to lift up the quilt. It's going to create pull. It's going to create stretch. It's going to throw
You don't
off.
want to do that.
Yeah, it's going to throw off what you're doing, and it's not going to lay as nice. So you want to get what they call is curved or basting pins. And even when it comes to that, there are two types. There are two manufacturers. Well, there's probably more, but I'm going to focus on the two that we've carried. And so the first one is, and it's been around for a while, is Dritz. Okay. It's got a little bit of a bow in it. So when you're pinning it, so you go down, and then when you put the pin flat, the pointy end goes back, starts to go back up. And so you just have to tip it a little bit and it'll go back up and through your quilt. So you're not having to mess around shifting things. I'm going to show you the difference between the two. So the first one, this is Dritz. So you can see there's a little bit of a bow in there. The other company is Bowhin. Okay, I can't see, hold this up and see. Can you guys see the difference in those two pins? The Bowen has a big bend in it, both the top and the bottom. This makes it so much easier when you're pinning, because with the Dritz, you kind of have to still tip it up. But this one, if you open that up, so you go down, and then as soon as you go flat, it's already, so just a simple move like that, and it's up and in.
Lot less movement.
It's a lot less.
Sandwich.
Yeah, a lot less movement, less work on your fingers, especially if you have arthritis in them. They're a lot more sturdier.
Yes.
And they close so much more easier, I found. Yes. So we've got these coming back into stock. We've got some, if we don't have them, they're definitely ones you want to invest in. The other thing is that I find they're also sharper. And so they just slide through that fabric and batting like butter. It's so much nicer. So those are the Bowen are now my preference. I was quilting a quilt, well, sandwiching one, and I used up all my regular ones, and I had another one that I had to do, and I wasn't quite ready to quilt the first one. So I came in, and that's when Carrie had the Bowen. She goes, "You gotta try these ones. They're new. We've just brought them in, and we've heard really good results or reviews on them." I love these now. Like, I can point out in my container which ones are, and so I'm going to buy more. And I think I'm going to put these other ones as my backup if I run out, because these ones are amazing. So those are your two basic ones, is either spray or pin. Now, some people do both.
Yes.
Just
yes,
for
they
that
do, yeah.
extra, they're while they're working and shifting their quilt around, they like to have the spray on it so that it doesn't shift. Whatever they've got lined up isn't shifting, and then they pin it for just that extra support. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. So either or both. But again, just treat this like hairspray.
Yes, yes, yes.
You know, it is flammable. So once you have those and you're getting ready to sandwich your quilt, there's a couple of different ways to do it. So first one we're going to talk about is kind of all in one. And this is where you are able to get down on the floor.
Some of us can.
Some of us can't. Okay, so you would lay your backing on a flat surface, so like a hardwood floor, smooth it out. One thing you want to be careful when you are laying it out, you kind of want to pat the fabric more than sliding your hand across it and pulling and stretching. You don't want to stretch out your fabric, especially when it comes to the batting pulls.
Yes.
Okay. The higher quality you have in batting, the less it's going to do that, but it's still
gonna.
And so if you're like pulling and stretching and all those kind of things with it, you know, even though when you pin it, when you go to wash it, it's going to go all that much further back. And then it's really going to kind of frustrate you. So you lay your backing down, pat it out, you know, you can smooth with a little bit of light pressure as long as you're not pulling and tugging that fabric. Lay it down, and then you're going to secure it to the floor.
Yes.
You want it to stay put, because as you're like lifting and you're batting and reshifting and everything else like that, if it's not secured to the floor, it's going to come up.
Yeah.
And then so all that smoothing is going to go right out the door. So you're going to want to use tape, a low tack tape. Okay. Not packing tape.
Right.
Not masking tape. Not Gorilla tape or duct tape. Okay.
Low tack.
Low tack. You don't want a sticky residue left on the floor. I mean, the floor might be a little easier to clean, but you don't want it on your fabric. And if you're using something that has too much thing, when you go to lift it up, you're going to stretch the fabric. You're going to pull threads. You don't want to do that. So low tack. So this is the Scott's brand. So it's blue. Excuse me. The Frog brand is green.
Yeah.
So it's either blue or green, but you just want to make sure that it's low tack. The other name for it is usually referred to as painter's tape.
Yeah.
Because it won't pull off the paint that you've done. So you want low tack. Then once you have it down on the floor, nice, then you're going to put your batting down, and then tape it in place. So you'll tack it down and, you know, smooth it. Then you're going to put your top on. I don't do this method simply because I can't get down on, well, I can.
Yeah.
I can get down, usually if, you know, it's a lot of work, but I can get down. I just can't kneel on my knees or get back up. And then I'd have to call for help. And the children would stand and laugh for like 20 minutes
before they just help too. Yeah.
Well, I'm still not sure that they would help. They just come for the good laugh and then leave. So, you probably want to do. Yeah, you know my children, and they're like, you can see it, and they'll bring snacks to see how long it takes, you know.
Tape it.
Yeah, tape it, YouTube, you know, they'll go viral, all that fun stuff. You can take the top down, but I don't think you necessarily need to at that point.
I do, but
You do. Some people do, some people don't, but you just want to be careful because your top is going to be shorter than your batting. So
and your back.
yeah, so you're going to be taping that to the batting and the back, not the floor. It just won't reach your tape isn't big enough. So you can take and do that. Again, just be very careful. But the more you secure it, when you're trying to pin, then the better. If you're using the 505, what you're going to want to take and do is put your backing down, get the placement for your batting Once you have the batting in place, you'll fold up half to the center, then spray your 505 and then fold it down and smooth it, and then do that for the top, or like do the top first and then the bottom, side or whatever. You don't want to spray the 505 before, because you're going to be shifting way too much and then you'll lose a lot of that tack. Okay. So place it first, get it where you want it, and then lift up, then tape it down, and then do the same. Put your top on and get it placed where you want it, lift, spray down, and then the top, and then tape and pin. Okay. So that's kind of what you want to take and do for those. Now, for those of us who have to use a table, because we can't get down, the other thing, because the tape doesn't necessarily work unless you've got a huge table. But then for me, I'm short. I won't be able to reach that center.
Yeah.
So if I tape it down, I'm like, again, calling the children because I'm on a step ladder and reaching, I'm going to fall, and then they'll come and laugh.
You could always lay down on the table and just keep.
I could, but I'd probably get stuck again. Yeah, we're all gonna, yeah, it's not a good
no.
visual. You're gonna wanna use clips.
Yes.
Okay, so this is one style. There's a whole bunch of different styles, but this is what we have in stock. They're, what are they called?
Clamp.
They're called clamp.
Yeah.
There's creativity for you.
Champ.
Oh, champ. Oh, okay. I can't read.
There you go.
It really is a day. Okay, so they're called champ. And so what they'll take and do, they are a little bit harder. So there are some, there are some that can squeeze. These
Yeah,
ones, you're
this
going to
is-
want to
yeah.
pull them apart here. The upside with them being harder is they're really going to hold on tight.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to clamp them. I'll kind of show you when I go over to my demo spot. You're going to clamp it on. So you'll lay down your backing piece, and then you're going to clamp this in place. And depending on how big your table is and how big your quilt is, you're going to need at least 8 to 10 of these, maybe a
Yes.
little bit
Yeah.
more.
Mhm.
You don't want to, like, one on the top of the table, one on the bottom, one on either side is not going to be enough. You really
It
want
has to be secured
it's
as
gotta
if you
be
were
secured.
taping it. Yeah.
Okay, if your thing goes over the edges, I'm going to show you a little bit. Ours isn't going to necessarily go over the edge, but you'll still clamp it in place as you start to maneuver things, and then shift it as you get
Yeah.
things in place. So I'm going to actually take you off of this one, and I'm going to take you over to my demo, or to the demo one. So just bear with me here as I unpin this one. And I'm going to pin, oh, well, we've got it this way. Pin. Okay. And I'm just going to play around with my sound here for a minute, because I'm going to mute. No, that one is muted. I'm going to mute this one. Okay, I'm going to have to go. Oops. Yeah, we're going to come over here. Not at the moment. So let me just unmute here.
Okay, I'm hoping you guys can hear me because I've got the thing here. So, all right. So what we're going to take and do, just let me move this, is I'm going to show you a technique for finding the center of your quilt. This one is a technique that Carol has showed. The one thing about this is you want to make sure that you're doing is when you're putting your sandwich together, you really do want to have things centered. Because if you don't, you run the risk of too much batting and backing on one side and not enough on the other side, this kind of stuff. You also want it centered so it's easier to work with. So this is my backing. We're going to pretend this is my backing. And how we're going to find the center, let me grab my pins. is, okay, so I've got the pin, so I'm hoping you guys can see. So we're gonna pretend that this is a nice big quilt, but it's smaller for us to use. So I'm gonna find the center. Okay, and I'm gonna try and keep, do you want to actually turn the camera so I can
so
see?
you can see.
So I can see what I'm doing. So I make sure that I'm staying in.
The camera.
There we go. Now I can see what you guys are seeing. Okay, so I'm gonna fold this in half and I'm gonna find my center and I'm gonna take a pin. And I'm going to pin it. And you guys should be able to see that pin there, hopefully. And I'm going to do that on the other side. I'm trying to do this so you guys can kind of see it at the same time, but my fingers don't necessarily want to work. Okay. So now I have the center here, and then I'm going to take it this other way, and I'm going to find the center this way. So just going to hold this up for a minute. Okay. Let's move this out. So we're gonna make sure that it's all lined up. And then I'm gonna mark my centers again. I'm trying to use pins that you guys can hopefully see. All right, so this is center. So I want the center so that that's gonna lay flat in theory. One of these days, I will get used to working around a camera. But I can still do what I need to do, even though the camera's in the way. Yeah, don't put pins in your mouth. As I do it. All right. So that's there. Okay. Now I'm just doing this really quick. You want to really make sure that it's nice and smooth and centered, but for time's sake. Right. So once I have that pinned, I'm going to lay it down right with the right side down. Okay. So this is my backing. Okay, then I'm going to do the exact same thing with my batting, is I'm going to find my center points. I've already done that to save time. Okay. All right. You're going to be my hands up there. All right. So you guys can see, we're going to pull this down so that they can actually see what I'm doing here. So the first thing that we're going to take and do is in the center, we want our centerpiece. So we're going to line these pins up together so that they are lined up. So you can kind of see that. Then I'm going to kind of lay this out flat. Okay. So I have my centerpiece, and then I'm just going to kind of pull this down so you guys can see, because we're working in a very small area. Of course it would go that way. Yeah. Okay. So that's my centerpiece. So I've got this all nice and flat. And then we're going to pretend, because I laid this out the wrong way, we're going to line this up. Okay, so this is my centerpiece. Okay. If this was here, this is my center. So I'm going to make sure that it is this piece here is with this. So I will shift it so that my pins or one on top. So now I know that this part here is centered
Right.
with
with that.
Our
Our
sides are centered.
Our sides. Now, as
sometimes
when you play around with the top one,
these
ones might
adjust
adjust or shift.
just
Just
shift them
them
back.
But they are still.
So
So
if
if those ones are in place, my bottom is also going to be in place. I'll just adjust that. So once I have this all lined up, so now I've got it centered here.
So
So my batting is now centered in my backing.
I'm
I'm going to take my top part.
Again,
Again, I would have marked all my pieces, and I have it pre-marked. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to take the center here. We're going to line up those center pieces. So those pins are centered. Okay. And we're going to line up this top one. So that is. Now you can see there that it's not quite. So we're going to just shift things over a little bit. Okay. Pat it down. And if it's twisted, so we're just going to do that until everything is lined up. Okay. Now, this is not perfect simply because it's not an actual quilt top. We're just using some fabric because it's just easier at this point. So you want to make sure that that's lined up, your center, and then you'll slide it up and make sure your bottom pins are lined up. And as you're going, just kind of smooth. So now I have all it's now centered. Everything is centered. I should have equal amounts here and equal amounts here if I cut it right, which there's scraps. Okay, so once you have this done, okay, the best way to do this one, if you're just pinning that, so where did I put my pins? Okay. Okay, we know where our center is. Or, gosh, we could use those ones. Okay. You're going to see how easy these ones are. Okay. These are the good ones. Okay. So we find our center. Okay. If you're dealing with a bigger quilt, what you'll probably want to take and do is take like these type of pins and just keep working your way over to the till you find the center. So now, and then from the top. So I've got center. See, down, up. See how they are so simple, lickety poo. So, what I'll take and do is I will do a quarter at a time. So I'll adjust this, so I know where this center point is. This is my center here. So super quick. So then I would adjust this on my table so that I am working on this quarter. So if I have to move this all the way down so I can reach the top, this will come down. And then this is where I would secure it. So then I would take the clips, and you're not going to be able to see it, but I would clip. Yeah, if you just tip this a little bit so you guys can kind of see. So I would clip this here, and I would clip all along here. And saying that this was near the edge, I would clip it. If it's not, this is where I would use tape. And along the top, I could use tape. So that it's held in place while I am taking and pinning. Because if it doesn't, as I'm thing and shifting around, like it can buckle here, because it's going to get pulled, it's going to this. Everything now stays nice in place and nice and tight. Okay, so that's kind of how you do that. The other one we wanted to show you, because this one tends to get a little bit whatever. So I'm going to show you another technique that we've been asked about, and it's using poodle noodles. Or as we like to call them. No, okay. For this technique, I would still have my center.
I won't need the side centers because once you roll it, it's gonna be a little bit harder. Okay, so I'm gonna take all these pins out. And I'm gonna leave these ones in. I'm gonna pull this off. Pins again. I'm not pin the bottom. Yeah, I pulled the pin out.
Maybe they stuck in the batting.
Maybe. Okay, so these are poodle noodles or pool noodles. Either one. Okay, so we're gonna show you how to use these to roll up your fabric so that you can work in a smaller space, like especially if you have a really small table. And it makes things really difficult because for me, I don't have a very big table. And so I am doing a whole lot of shifting, even for a small wall hanging on my table. Okay, so you're going to take your poodle noodle, please. Get a new one, and when you store them right. Don't let your husband store them and then put boxes on top of them because they will get crushed. But even with that, this still works. Okay. So I'm actually going to flip it the other way because that's where my center point is. Oh no, I need a center on that one. Never mind. Don't mind me. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to take and do, okay, is we're going to kind of make sure that our thing is as straight as we possibly can. We're going to take our poodle noodle. I call them poodle noodles. This is just what they're going to be. We're going to take our pins and we are going to roll it up onto the poodle. And we're going to pin it. As we do this, we want to make sure that we are going as straight as we can. This is important because if we want this to roll on nice, how we start it is going to make a big difference. So if it's not straight, it's not going to roll straight. Okay. You want to pin it in a couple of places. Okay. Move these. Okay. And then if your poodle noodle is straight, and then you're going just to very carefully, while trying to keep it pulled nice and tight, roll it onto the poodle noodle. Okay. Watching that you're not going to crooked. Okay. Keeping this nice and flat. Okay. As you do this. Okay. So this is why it's imperative that the noodle stays straight. Okay. If you have sewing buddies, this would also be a great time to have help, because then you can be in two different, like you can have one rolling one side and one the other side. Okay, I lost it there. Okay. So you're going to roll it on as straight as you can. Then when you get to the end, okay, you're going to pin this up so it doesn't fall off. Okay. Leave this center pin in. Because you're going to see how that's used later on. We're going to do the same. Top, off. Not have one on the side.
There's one on the floor, so I'm wondering where all the went.
I pulled them all out.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Again, we're going to take our little noodle pins. And we're gonna roll this one up. Okay. Now batting is stretchy. So you really don't want to pull and tug on this one. Okay. So just like when you're laying it and patting it out, you also don't want to be tugging and pulling. And we're going to just roll this up. Now I am doing this kind of in a quick, so you guys kind of get the rough idea. Will it be perfect on the edges? No, batting, like I said, it will. You just want to watch that you are rolling straight. If you start to feel that you are going crooked, just pull it out and start again. Okay. Are you going to do it perfect the first time? No. Practice a couple of times rolling this stuff up and you'll get used to it. Okay. I'm just doing this really quick so you guys kind of get the rough idea. Okay, again, you're going to leave that. We're going to pull this up. Okay. Trying to be mindful of time here because I know we're probably getting. All right. This way. This the top. You're going to roll with it right side up because that's how you want it to unroll onto your. We're going to fold this up. The upside with this is like I'm standing at the moment, but I can do this while I'm sitting as well. Because I can't stand too long. Okay, so again, we're going to pull this nice and tight without stretching the fabric and then just roll. Okay. Now you'll notice that this one is rolling a lot nicer just because this one is actually cut square. The other stuff wasn't cut square yet. It was grab and go. Okay, so we get this, leave that one in, pin this up. I'll get my Vanna to help me. I got a food. All right, right there. Okay, and then the next thing is now to sandwich our quilt. So the first thing that we're going to take and do is we're going to take our backing. Okay, and we'll pop these pins out, leaving our center pin, and we're going to unroll it. Oh, we roll it the other way. We're unrolling it the other way. Okay, because this is the way we're going to work. So we're going to work opposite of what we have been. Okay. Okay, so we've got our backing there. Now we're going to take our batting and where our center pin is, we're going to line that up. So now it's going to be centered. Okay. So we'll take all these other ones out, leaving our center one in. Okay. Now, depending on how you're doing this, your backing and your batting should be roughly about the same. This is where everyone starts, so you can line this up. Okay. And then we're going to unroll it until it matches there. I would probably, depending on the size of my table, I would work a little bit more. Just give me a little bit more extra space. And then my top. Okay. Take those out. Flip this so that it's the right way. Line this up with my other pins. Now, when you do this one, you don't want you want a little bit of extra. So you're going to shift it down however much you want. So if you want an inch, you'll shift it down an inch. If you need 4 inches, whatever. So we're just going to eyeball it and say this is, but we still want these centered. So now my quilt top is centered in my back and my batting because we pinned it right there. So then what we're going to do, if you're going edge to edge, you can still put some clips down. But because we are working on such a small area, this is where we can start to pin and work a small area at a time. Okay. Now, here's a tip for when you are pinning. How far apart do you want those pins? You roughly want to go the span of your hand. Okay. So you're going to go poop. And then I'm going to pin here. Does it have to be a perfect measurement? No. Okay. So then you pin across and then you can pin up. So hand. Will you use a lot of pins? Yes. But you want this secure. Okay. So we're going just to pretend that we've pinned all through here. And then you're just, once this is done, you're just going to pull this down, roll this out, roll it a little bit more. Yeah. I'm just in a hurry, otherwise I would make sure. And you're just going to keep doing that. Again, not push and something, just kind of pat it down, make sure that it's there, get those little wrinkles out. And then you'll just do that through the whole thing. And then it's all pinned and ready to go for quilting. All right, so we're going to go back. So if you want to go back, turn the thing. I'm just going to mute this one. If you can't hear us for a minute, that's okay. All right.
I'm going to try it.
Yeah. All right, there we go. All right, so that, oh, let me unpin. Let's pin the right one.
Yeah.
As much as they all want to see the poodle noodles. You know me, once it's in my head one way, that's the way it is.
Yep,
so it's going to be poodle noodles forever. Just like Macy called Fingers Ginkers. And so
there you go.
I have a really hard time not referring to them as Ginkers.
So I'm going to go out and buy some of those noodles.
If you're looking at wanting to do this, the poodle noodle thing, Dollar Store has it. If you want some, you're going to have to go look now because we're getting towards the end of the season. They may not have them anymore, but they're roughly about $2-3 a piece. You can put them together. So, I mean, because they're not super long. So if you're doing a longer quilt, you can either take a bit of a PCV pipe and stick it in the center. I figure you can just, this is where you can use your duct tape or your Gorilla Tape and then just butt them up and then just wrap the tape around it a little bit. You don't want to give it a lot of extra thickness. You just want it just enough to hold. And then you've got longer for like bigger quilts. If you're working on something like that, you probably, a buddy would definitely help because then each of you can have two hands on a poodle noodle. If not, you would just slowly work as you walk down and work it. The key to doing this is take your time. Don't be in a rush like I was because it's going to goof because it always does. So just take your time and practice. Just grab some regular fabric and just practice rolling it.
Until you get the knack.
Until you get the knack of it. It's not going to be perfect the first time. And so don't get frustrated the first time. Oh, this just didn't work. Just practice rolling. And again, you might have a little bit on the edges where it's not perfectly lined up. Again, it boils down to sometimes the squaring up of your fabric if it's not perfectly squared. Again, I have a very short, small cutting space. So sometimes I can't get things perfectly squared when I'm cutting. It just, I don't have the space to do it. So that's why your backing and your batting should be way bigger, because if it's not quite straight, you're good. You got
can
stuff to work
still
around it.
straighten it up, yeah.
So just work at it and practice it. And then the one thing about this is if, once you have it pinned and ready to go, you could also roll it back onto your poodle noodle to store it until you are ready to
Yeah.
quilt it.
And it's not folded that way, then it's better that way.
Yeah. You could depending on how you have it, if you don't pin it on the center, this thought just came to me. See how it goes. If you don't pin it when you first start rolling it and you roll it and it's like the big quilt, and then how you use clamps, kind of roll it up.
Yeah.
And then clamp it, or pull the poodle noodle out. Now it's rolled nicely, and then you just clamp it. So you might be able to do that
It's
if it's
pinned though.
if you don't pin it.
Oh,
if you
okay.
don't
All right.
pin it
Yeah.
on the center, so you roll up your quilt.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, at that point, it doesn't have to be perfect on there, because when you're quilting, you're going to be working in different sections, but you might be able to just roll it and then pull the poodle noodle out, and now it's nicely rolled. So then you can clamp it, because that's the other thing, is I have a hard time rolling it up.
Okay,
So there's a couple,
alrighty, there you go.
we'll see how that one works. We'll play
Yeah.
around.
Let us know
So
if you have success.
yeah, so sandwiching, there's a couple of tips, the stuff that you need, must have for doing it, our take on our favorite pins.
Right, yeah.
And then so those ones are the Bowen, there we go. I'm looking at it and going, that's backwards, but so the Bowen ones really are my personal favorite. Once I've used them, there's just something about them. And then clips and all that kind of
That's
stuff.
right.
So,
Okay,
all right, so
that's it for this week.
enjoy the rest of your day.
Yep.
Have fun. Sorry, it was a little bit longer, but we really just wanted to share some of these
Yeah.
tips.
Exactly.
All right, have a great day.
Alrighty, bye now.
Bye.